What is going on, everybody, man? King Recon here. Welcome to the 25 Days of Santa Recon series, where I come on here and talk about my favorite experiences that I've had in this decade. So for this video, I decided I'm going to take a very similar approach to how I did the Fall 2014 season video, where I talked about multiple different series, because to me they were inseparable. That entire weekly experience, just when I thought about Parasite, I thought about Your Lie in April. When I think about Your Lie in April, I think about Katsuki no Yona. When I think about Katsuki no Yona, I think about Fate. So like those series and the other ones that I covered in that video are all intertwined together because of me experiencing them at the exact same time. And even though other series I've experienced together, I can still separate them for the most part. But with that experience and this one is very weird because some of these I didn't even experience back to back to back to back. But the initial experience of them were so similar in terms of most of these I've only gone back and read once. Or, I'm sorry, that I've only read once. I've never gone back to read them again. And yet they still stick out so strongly in my mind because of that initial binging experience. The fifth one, however, it is the odd one out. It is completely different to the first four. It is the slowest I have ever taken a manga experience. And yet it is the one that I go back to and revisit the most. So I want to talk about like how that contrasts and what separates the experiences and why both of them are very, very important and unique to why I really enjoy this medium as a whole. And I'm not going to go into spoilers barely for any of these. I'm just going to talk about my personal experience with them. If I might name drop some characters or something, but I'm not going to talk about spoilers because I know when talking about multiple series, it's really hard to not spoil someone, because somebody out there is bound to not having read all 5 of these, and I don't want to spoil that one person on what could be an incredible experience. So I'm going to stay as spoiler free as possible and just talk about them briefly and go through my personal experiences. But without further ado, man, let's get right into it. Like I said before, I've gone back and looked at some panels and whatnot, but actually going back and rereading full arcs or full on in the entirety of these manga, I have not gone back and done that once. But that just first initial binge was so incredible. It's like flag darts, and it just always stuck with me. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is one of the ones that I binged in one sitting, and it's an experience that you just sit down and you don't know what you're going to get, but because you just finished or at least for me, I finished one of this individual's other series. And I forget I know in English it's called The Flowers of Evil. I don't remember the Japanese version, but so whenever I finished it, I was like, dude, I'm looking for something else like this, and I came across a series called Inside Mari. Now, Inside Mari is interesting because when you start off the series, it's very unique into where it throws you into a situation, and I feel like the best way for you to truly get addicted to a series is whenever you're thrown in the middle of a situation and everything just starts going bonkers from then on. Mysteries ensue, plot twists, but everything's page turner. You're constantly turning the page because every single thing that happens is making you more and more invested into what's going on until you get to the climax. And Inside Mari is definitely one of those series, man. I was so immersed. I could not wait to see what was going to happen next. It was a very, very unique experience and one that I'll never forget. And the art is something that sticks out to me in terms of, the art for a lot of these is something that sticks out to me, but when it comes to this one in particular, as to how realistic it looks. Oshimi's art looks like that just in general, but in Inside Mari, there's just certain facial shots where you're just like flagners. It looks like a painting. It's absolutely incredible. So yeah, Inside Mari, an incredible binging experience. That was one of those you sit down once and then you don't get back up until you finish type of series right there. And then the second one, now this one I'm glad I didn't experience with one sitting. I probably would have, who knows what I would have done. Because it is one of the most depressing series I've ever experienced. I read this one on 2 or 3 sittings. I just remember, there's certain series that I share that have something similar where I wake up in the morning and I love to read whenever I wake up. So if I'm reading something that I really, really enjoy, then it's going to be the first thing I read when I wake up in the morning, right? And this was one of those series. Now, can you imagine, whenever I tell you what I'm actually about to say, can you imagine me reading this series before I go to work? For 3 days. Just imagine it. Oyasumi Punpun, man. Oyasumi Punpun, I used to read in the morning and at night. Imagine that. Imagine that, right? But it was just such an incredible journey. A very unique one for sure, and one that is very, very visually appealing. I absolutely adore the way that the series is drawn and the way it's handled from a visual standpoint. It has one of those, the moment you see a panel from Punpun, you know where it's from. It's just automatic. You might even know what moment it's coming from. That's just how unique the art style is. But Oyasumi Punpun is one of those series where it's so hard for me not to spoil for saying anything, but it is a true journey through adolescence, and I always praise the movie The Adolescence of Utena for telling that in a 2-hour film, but Oyasumi Punpun does a phenomenal job of doing that in a 100 and something chaptered story. So if you're looking for a series like that, I highly no, you know what? I don't recommend Punpun. Out of all the ones on this list, I don't recommend it. If you want to check it out, you check it out, but I don't recommend it. I don't want to do it to you, Skip. I don't want to do it to you, man. That junk hits. Oyasumi Punpun hits, man. Like, once you experience certain things, you're never the same. You're never the same, coach. So, Oyasumi Punpun, definitely another one of those magnificent binging experiences. And then coming right after that is a series that started off kind of like that, but then turned into one of the most incredible redemption and uplifting stories that I recall reading. That is Onani Master Kurosawa, man. Onani Master Kurosawa, when I first started it off, I thought it was such an insane concept that just had me so interested. I was like, bro, what? Like, who makes this? But because prior to going into this series, I had heard of how some people hold the series in high regard, I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep going. Because not only the concept interested me, but like I said, because it was highly regarded, I wanted to see why it was highly regarded. And once you get to the second half of that, of Kurosawa, I immediately understood why it is that it is highly regarded as it is. That second half is absolutely phenomenal, man. It is out of this world, especially because of the build up and everything that has taken place up until that point in time. And just that initial experience of going through Kurosawa the first time it's something you'll never forget, man. It's one that I definitely think back fondly on, because I'm like, bro, what a truly uplifting experience. It is beautiful seeing the character arcs of certain characters and how they change as the series progresses. It's absolute. It is worthy of a 10. Now, I'll just say that, man. It is worthy of a 10. Now, the next one we're going to talk about, man, is Seishi Kishimoto's Oparts Hunter. This, like Punpun, took me around 3 or 4 sittings to finish, and the last one in particular is very memorable for me because we were as a family going on vacation to the beach, and we don't really go to the beach that often, so that's how I definitely recall that. And I was so addicted to Oparts Hunter that while everybody else was going into the water, I was like, yo, give me like 15 minutes, dog. And I finished Oparts. I mean, I was already finishing it on the way there, but when I got there, I was like, no, I gotta finish it. So just imagine, for those of you that have read Oparts Hunter, just imagine reading those final 4 chapters while the sun is beaming on you, son. And you're experiencing this greatness before your very eyes. That final chapter of Oparts hits, man. It is one of the most memorable final chapters for me that I have read, and that's a high praise to give it, because there's a lot of final chapters that stick with you but aren't necessarily memorable. Like, you know, like there's a difference. There's certain final chapters that stick with you because of a certain connection you have to the series and whatnot. But the whole chapter in of itself you don't consider memorable. You might remember a panel or something. That final chapter of Oparts, you remember that junk once you finish it, bro. And the entire journey, oh man, dude, Rockbird City, bro. Yo, everything from a certain point until the end is just so good. Ruby, dog, Jin. Yo, Oparts went in so hard, and it was so much fun. That the first. I think what I enjoy so much about it is that it takes its time at the beginning to set up this world, and then once stuff starts going down, because you had all that information, there is no room for pause. It just goes in hard, and it takes risks, and I just love how ambitious it is, man. So if you're looking for an ambitious battle manga, Oparts Hunter, man, give it a shot. It's around, like I said, I think it's around 76 chapters. The concept might not be for everybody. I don't expect it to be for everybody. It is a bit ambitious and out there. So if it's not for you, I completely understand. But if you would enjoy something like that, it's insane. It is insane, and it has some really, really cool stuff in it. Some really cool stuff when it comes to the way it does its battles, to the way that it tells its story, to the way that the characters progress, and to the way it handles certain ideas and ideologies. It's very interesting. It's interesting. I'll leave it at that, and just remember it. Like I said, that final stretch, you better be sitting down somewhere, or just have time available after a certain point in that series, because that final stretch, you have to binge it. You have to binge it. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But Oparts Hunter. And then after that, for the final one. And now this is the one that I was talking was so different to the other ones that I talked about on this list. I have talked to this point about series of experience in one sitting, series of experience in multiple sittings, but they all had that one thing in common, that I was so immersed and addicted to the experience that I just could not let it go until I finished. This one is the complete opposite. I would argue that for its length, it is the absolute longest it has taken me to read a series of this length. However, that is not a knock against it. I valued my time with this series. There's a reason why it is still in my favorite manga list, within the top 10. There is a reason why I look back on it extremely fondly for helping me in my college days. And there is a massive reason why anytime that somebody asks me if they want like a unique manga reading experience, I always say this one, because even if they don't like it, they'll never forget it. Because I have been reading manga for a very long time, and I have never read an experience like this, because it is so unique. But it's unique in a very awesome and good way. And I'm talking about Yokohama Kaidashi Kikou, aka Yokohama's shopping log, man. The journey and the adventure of Alpha, dude. This series, there would be some days where, you know, life is just hitting you, dog, and you need that relaxing experience. You need like that breather. You know, something similar to what Aria the animation would give you, but in manga form. You know, when you read a chapter of Yokohama, you just settle down. It's like once you enter that world for those pages and those chapters that are in it, it's like once you finish it, you're starting your day fresh again. Because you just come out of it and you're like, man, what a beautiful world. Like, what a beautiful world it is. Like, seriously, dog, like, y'all may think I'll be playing. I'm not playing. Sometimes, man, like, legit, after, like, a test or after studying or whatever, man, I would just sit down. Just read one chapter. And after that, I feel so fresh, dog. I'd be like, yo, let's go, man. I'm ready to go to work now, son. Like, and it was needed, especially in that time, you know, where it was so hectic in my life and there was no stopping points. Yokohama allowed me to have that break. It allowed me to have that reset period in the middle of the day. I think that's why that series has such a special place in my heart, and why to this very day, you know, just like everyone has their favorite song or their favorite album where they can go back to and they can... they hope to relive the same type of emotions that they had whenever they first heard that song, and why it means so much to them. Yokohama has a type of effect to me to where if I'm feeling a certain way one day, I go and I look at one panel of Yokohama, and I'm like, bro, I'm back. Like, I'm reset. That is the effect that the series has had on me. And like I said, if it doesn't hit everybody the same, then it is what it is. But to me, that's how it hit. To me, that's how it hit, man. And it is lofi hip hop 24/7. The manga. It truly, after you finish that, it feels like my mind's cleared, and I'm ready to go. And that's why I didn't want that journey to end, and that's why I took my time with it, because I was like, bro, I can't waste the valuable time with this series. Like, I can't just go through it and just rock through it, because then what's the point? This series is here in front of me as this wonderful daily experience that reminds me just to settle down and live life, and live in the present time and appreciate everything that's around me. Like, I'm not gonna want to binge something like that, dog. Whereas the other ones, the stories were so immersive and the mysteries just kept you wanting to turn the page and keep going. Yokohama told you to settle down. Yokohama was like, brother, relax, take it easy, sit down, chillax, eat some food, and just take in the atmosphere, go outside, take a break, sit down, chill. And that's why I wanted to talk about this one in particular with the other four, because it's great to have your binging experiences, but it's also great to have those series that you could just settle down, relax, and just breathe in, man. And remember why it is that you're doing this in the first place. And in that way, that's why Yokohama is special to me. And in a similar way, that why Aria the animation is also very special to me, because it delivers the same type of thing, just in anime form. But that journey with Alpha, man, great stuff. And like I said, I could just look at a panel and I'm like, dog, we reset, we back. And I feel like it's this way with anything. But, like I said, because of when it was that I experienced it, and because it was such a hectic time, I really needed a series like that. And I'm glad that it was there for me during that time period. And I hope that if you decide to get into it, that it's there for you during that time period as well. And it can help you out too. But those are the 5 series I want to talk about today, man. Inside Mari, incredible binging experience, absolutely insane, just the chapter thing. Oyasumi Punpun. That's all I gotta say about that, right? Just gotta breathe in and out and let that out, man. It's crazy. Onani, Master Kurosawa, very uplifting, incredible redemption arc. Oparts Hunter, super cool. I really like the art style, the way that it does powers and abilities, and the whole way that it handles its battles, the way it handles its arcs is just really unique. And that final stretch is absolutely insane. And then Yokohama, man, reminding you just sit down, relax, take it easy. Because we'll take it from there, man. But those are the 5 series that I want to talk about today. If you have experienced any of these 5, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you would like to experience one of these and you want to get information on them, then also let me know in the comment section down below, and I would be more than happy to help you out and whatnot, man. But everybody has an awesome day, man. Take care. Manga greatness. I will see you next time for another edition of the 25 Days of Santa Recon, and to talk about some more greatness, man. Have a blessed one, y'all.